Some houses have a story to tell, a history etched into their very foundation. But this house, it doesn't just keep secrets, it talks back. When Zoe first walked into her new rented room, the silence was the first thing she noticed. It was a heavy, suffocating quiet that clung to the dusty air. The room was small, forgotten, but the rent was cheap, unbelievably cheap. Almost as if the owner wasn't just renting it out, but desperately trying to fill it. She dropped her suitcase with a thud that seemed too loud in the stillness. Her eyes scanned the bare walls, the single window overlooking a bleak alley, and then settled on a large old wooden wardrobe standing ominously in the corner. Its door was just slightly ajar, like a mouth waiting to speak. "Hello," she whispered, the words swallowed by the room's emptiness. As the main door creaked shut behind her, a feeling of unease began to creep in. She told herself it was just new place jitters. She was wrong. It was soft, but distinct. It was coming from inside the wardrobe. She stared at the wardrobe. It was closed, tightly shut. Nothing was out of place. She must have been dreaming. It was the only explanation that didn't make her feel like she was losing her mind. The next morning, sunlight streamed through the grimy window, and the fears of the night felt distant, almost foolish. They weren't deep, but they were undeniably there, marring the old wood like claw marks. Maybe she'd done it herself accidentally with her suitcase and hadn't noticed. She tried to push the thought away, to ignore the growing knot of fear in her stomach. It was a bad choice. Zoe sat on her bed, lights off, her eyes fixed on the wardrobe. She was determined to prove it was all in her head. For hours, nothing happened. The silence stretched on, mocking her. Then, with a slow, agonizing creak, the wardrobe door began to swing open all by itself. It revealed an abyss of absolute darkness inside, a black so deep it seemed to suck the very air from the room. A sound began to emanate from that darkness. A slow, heavy breathing, like that of a large animal asleep. Then the voice came again, laced with a chilling, possessive sadness. "You left me alone." Her body screamed, "Run," but her legs wouldn't obey. And then, from the inky blackness, a hand began to emerge. She spent the rest of the night huddled under her blanket, a pathetic shield against the unknown. She squeezed her eyes shut, bracing for the worst. When she finally dared to look, the room was empty. There was nothing there, but the wardrobe door, which she had seen open, was now standing wide open, a gaping maw in the corner of her room. Desperate for proof, for some sliver of sanity, Zoe came up with a plan. The next night, she propped her phone up on her bedside table, set it to record, and pretended to go to sleep. She lay perfectly still for hours, feigning a deep slumber, her mind racing. The next morning, with the sun's reassuring light filling the room, she grabbed her phone, her hand shaking. She scrolled through the footage. The first few hours were uneventful, just her, sleeping peacefully. Then, at exactly 3:13 a.m., the wardrobe door didn't creak open. It burst open. A tall, impossibly thin figure crawled out on all fours. It moved with a jerky, unnatural motion, its limbs bending at sickening angles. It crawled across the floor, its head twisting 180 degrees to scan the room. It crawled to her bed, silent as a spider, and leaned its face directly over hers, its features lost in shadow. In the video, she didn't even stir. The creature stayed there for a long time, just watching her. And then it turned its head and looked directly into the phone's camera. A distorted, guttural voice hissed from the speaker. "Stop watching." The screen went black. The phone died. Zoe dropped it as if it were on fire, her mind shattering. That was it. She had to get out. She threw her clothes into her suitcase, not bothering to fold them, her only thought to escape. She grabbed her bag, ran to the bedroom door, and yanked it open. But the hallway wasn't there, where there should have been a path to the front door. There was only impenetrable darkness, a void that seemed to press in on her. A whisper tickled her ear, so close she could feel hot breath on her neck. "You can't leave. You're mine now." Every muscle in her body screamed, but she turned, slowly, mechanically. The wardrobe was no longer in the corner. It was right behind her, looming over her, impossibly close. Such a great price. She didn't notice the wardrobe in the corner. She didn't see the two glowing eyes that opened slowly inside it, watching her every move. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more tales from the shadows.